And then the products. This is the final product of what you will produce. The students will produce. They have both individual and team products, as yours should. You want an individual aspect, but you also want a group aspect. Students will write a market analysis brief to deliver to a school board member outlining the economics behind the given problem, their research, and possible solutions. So the students are writing these briefs, and this link actually does work. If you want, I'm going to upload this. You can go to that link, and it'll show you the brief. It'll show you kind of an article on the brief. And these market analysis briefs were actually delivered to the school board members. The teacher actually took them and gave them to the school board members. Can you imagine how much our school board would love something like this, to see this real-world application that our students are doing? And then for teams, groups of students delivered the presentation outlining the contracts made with vendors, price points, profitability of switching to top 5 products chosen to current school board and administration. So they pitched it. They pitched it to the school board and to their school administration. These students did real-world, authentic activities, and I guarantee you they will remember this activity, this problem-based learning experience, for the rest of their life. Also, they linked it to the standards. They put the standards and they put what 21st century skill, critical thinking. You definitely need critical thinking to write a market analysis brief. And then specific content and competencies to be assessed here. They did the marketing standards, but also presentation skills and collaboration. So notice, presentation skills is not a 21st century skill, technically, but it would definitely be, collaboration would be communication. So you can put other stuff, not just those 21st century skills. So for the overview of the project design, they continued the public audience. This is where you list all the experts and audiences and everything. So food service director, student population for the surveys, also the health food vendors, but also the school board and the administration at the end. So a lot of people saw this stuff. Listed the resources, on-site people, facilities, see above. So on-site people are just the students and the food service director. These students needed access to computer lab, 2 days of researching products and analyzing it. We're lucky because we're in a one-to-one, so your students won't need access to a computer lab. They'll have their devices, but you still want to make sure and you list that. Materials, their economics, marketing, all these different textbooks. The teacher found example surveys for the students to kind of model theirs on. He also found a smart snack calculator so students could quickly and easily punch in the information on a snack, and it would tell them how smart it was, tell them how good it is for you. And for the community resources, it has vendors and current pricing data. So these students actually called up the vendors and requested current pricing data. Reflection methods, they list a few, and your template actually also has these. These are not at all required. You just need some sort of reflection. You don't have to do a journaling law. You don't have to do whole class, but you need some form of reflection. If you're not doing any of these, just put other and then put whatever you did. Notice how much of these this group had a learning log, had whole class discussion. I would recommend, by the way, that you always have some form of whole class discussion simply because it works so well. But also you want individual stuff. You have surveys, and then they have these, the charrette and the critical friends. These are pretty cool little methods of reflection. I encourage you to check them out if you want to click on the links when you actually have this document. And then comes the last part. This is the more kind of like a pacing guide, if you will, where it has the student learning guide, and then it has the final products, which is the individual is the market analysis brief, and the group is farther down. But it basically links everything up. It links your learning outcomes, which are your standards. It talks about formative assessments for how you will assess this along the way, and then how you're also going to make sure that all learners are able to access this material regardless of any disabilities or special circumstances they have. This is where your 504 and your IEP stuff comes in, where you make sure that you include things, but not just that, but also for different learning styles. You need to make sure you incorporate things for your kinesthetic learners and your visual learners and your auditory learners and all this different stuff. So that's where this comes in. And if you'll notice, all they did was simply go down, list all of their standards. Simply listed all their standards and how they were going to assess it. This one's got some cartoon strips. It's got a quiz. So you've got your traditional kind of activities. That's in the formative part. The formative things, your quizzes, your cartoon strips, your, research put together for different vending options. So you've got all this different stuff, a profit margin chart. So you've got these traditional things, but those come in the formative. So you are still having the traditional methodologies, but the big picture is that final project, is that final whatever the big project is at the end. So these are supporting the big project instead of the other way around.